let's just briefly talk about the other big story yesterday. Trexit. That's what I call it.
She had a Trexit.
She had a Trexit.
It was a Trexit. I mean, it's
Theresa
true.
May, I think. What was it? E.B. White book with Profile in Courage? Is that what it was? Talk about a profile in not courage, right? I mean, Theresa May at any point could have said, like, "Look, we're not doing this," or
"This was very silly bother."
Yep, but I tried to split the baby. Guess what? The baby died, but first me. Here she is, Theresa May, tendering her resignation, and we'll see who succeeds her. But, man, things are messed up.
I believe it was right to persevere, even when the odds against success seemed high. But it is now clear to me that it is in the best interests of the country for a new Prime Minister to lead that effort. So I am today announcing that I will resign as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party on Friday the 7th of June, so that a successor can be chosen. I've agreed with the party chairman and with the chairman of the 1922 committee that the process for electing a new leader should begin in the following week. I have kept Her Majesty the Queen fully informed of my intentions, and I will continue to serve as her Prime Minister until the process has concluded. It is, and will always remain, a matter of deep regret to me that I have not been able to deliver Brexit. It will be for my successor to seek a way forward that honours the result of the referendum. To succeed, he or she will have to find consensus in Parliament where I have not. Such a consensus can only be reached if those on all sides of the debate are willing to compromise.
I mean, I don't follow exactly what happens next. I think the EU gave them till October, right, to deal with this?
The EU gave them till October. The Tories will have an election, and Boris Johnson will probably take over, who is, I mean, he's a career politician, and I think he is more genuinely glib and intelligent and calculated, but he is a Trumpish sort of figure. There's parallels there. I think I'll just say, I know we don't have to, maybe Owen Jones will get to this in the clip, but I would look up the Windrush generation. I would remember the Grenfell Tower burning. And just to say that, like, I always say this, but Brexit is a crisis, but there's the structural crisis of what's happened since conservatives took over Britain in 2010 I mean, there's a new UN report talking about 14 million people in poverty in the UK.
Wow. And here is Owen Jones laying out her awful record, just in case you had a moments of sympathy for her. Here he lays it out on Politics Live.
I feel less than no sympathy. I think of the people that she has cruelly treated. If any sympathy is to be expended today, it should be for the Windrush Britons who, because of her, were kicked out of their homes, denied medical care, deported from their own country. It should be for the children who have been driven into poverty at the fastest rate since 1988. It should be the disabled people who are having their benefits stripped away. It should be the victims of universal credit whose lives have been destroyed. It should be the people driven to food banks because of her policies. And I wish we would spend far more time in the media talking of sympathy, rather than expending it on the powerful who will live affluent and comfortable lives to the day they die, rather than people driven into hardship and insecurity and misery because of their policies. And that is the root of the turmoil of this country. She is the only leeway I'll give her is she is just one of many architects. This is a team effort by a Conservative Party which over the last decade has plunged Britain into the worst turmoil in peacetime. And for that, I think she and her colleagues will be damned by history.
You know, it's a real shame to hear that kind of hate speech and his complete lack of sympathy, how sad her family members must be, how she's going to have to move, right?
She's going to have to
11
move.
down. Like,
well, and even so-called tolerant left.
That's supposed to be one of the most stressful times,
and think
right? And loss of a job. I mean, can you imagine? Both the loss of a job and having to move out of what is it, 11 or 12
10 Downing Street.
10
And
Downing.
think of from her perspective too. She opposed Brexit and then saw a brilliant opportunity to actually leverage herself forward in politics by supporting Brexit.
No sympathy.
And now it's blown up in her face.
No sympathy. Really very harsh.
I mean, when you look at Windrush, it is an analog, obviously, to any number of Trump administration policies. And you're talking about people that came from the Caribbean as early as like the 50s.
Yep.
Just being basically told out of nowhere, like, oh, we decided you don't have the paperwork anymore. You could get deported, sent back to a place you haven't lived in for 40 or 50 years, and you've done absolutely. And as Lammy, who's an MP there, he said, he's pushing for amnesty, but he's like, I have a problem with that word because they've done absolutely nothing wrong.
Right. So Trexit. Hopefully we don't go. Well, Britain doesn't end up, from the frying pan into the fire.
You seem to be a bit of a glum bucket.
It's going to be Corbyn Johnson. That's going to be a quite vivid choice there.